What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Becky's baby bump, a new champion crowned at Halloween Havoc, Vince McMahon upsets a wrestler's wife, Triple H should have been kicked out of Evolution, who was the masked woman, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at Becky's baby bump. Now Becky Lynch is on maternity leave as she and fiancé Seth Rollins await the birth of their first child. Becky has now posted a picture of a baby bump on social media, a rare appearance from her who's been now laying low since stepping away from the WWE after Money in the Bank. Lynch is expected to give birth in December, with rumor having it she'll be back at WrestleMania 37 for a rematch with Ronda Rousey, who Lynch defeated at WrestleMania 35. Next up, Vince McMahon upsets a wrestler's wife. Wrestling fans were excited when Mike Bennett entered the WWE with wife Maria Kanellis, who had previously worked in the WWE, but their hopes for a good run from the real-life husband and wife team faded as both Mike and Maria's careers stalled, leading to Mike asking for his release. However, both then signed a new 5-year deal with the promotion before the pandemic hit. That became moot when they were released with a number of other stars on Black Wednesday. But appearing on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast, Mike blasted Vince McMahon for how he treated Maria. Vince is always nice to their face, but some of the things he's done lately, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around. It's hard for me to be okay with the way he treated my wife. Not only that, but she had more experience with that company. She was there for almost 6 years before the second time, and then 3 years on the second run, so that's almost 10 years of service. To release a woman who is on maternity leave after giving 10 years to a company and then just fire her in the middle of a pandemic? I'm sorry, I think that's a real lousy thing to do to a person. What do you think of Bennett's take on things? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Triple H should have been kicked out of Evolution. A former WWE superstar, Mark Jindrak, has been vocal lately when it comes to the WWE's Ruthless Aggression documentary series, particularly the WWE's narrative of him being considered for the heel faction Evolution, only for Ric Flair to think Jindrak wasn't a good fit. As fans know, Batista took the spot allocated for Jindrak, with Batista enjoying a huge push and Jindrak falling into WWE obscurity before his release. Recently, Jindrak spoke with sitting ringside, arguing that Triple H should have been kicked out of Evolution. He mentioned, because he was the bore. He was boring as shit, man. He was boring as shit. According to Jindrak, who found success in CMLL after leaving the WWE, he was considered for the group because Batista kept getting injured. Mark discussed how he and Randy Orton were popular backstage because we were both immature. We had a lot of fun on the road. It was just... and a lot of people thought it was humorous. They loved our act. One person who hated the act, though, was Triple H. Jindrak discussed how the WWE Network's Ruthless Aggression documentary mischaracterized who wanted Jindrak out of Evolution. The problem I had with that little documentary, the Ruthless Aggression piece that they did on Evolution, is when Triple H said, "Oh, I told Vince he's not good for the group." Vince said, "Yeah, he is." And I said, "No, he's not. Me and Rick." Triple H kept saying, "Me and Rick thought he wasn't good for the group." It wasn't Rick. It was not Rick in any way, shape or form. It was all Triple H, and that's the whole thing. Interestingly enough, the WWE had the opportunity to kick Triple H out of Evolution after Randy Orton won a World Championship, which could have opened the door for Jindrak. But what do you think of his comments, and would his career have turned out differently if he was a member of Evolution? Next up, a new champ crowned at Halloween Havoc. NXT's special Halloween Havoc episode featured a number of big matches, including a title change as Johnny Gargano defeated Damian Priest for the North American Championship in the Spin the Wheel Make the Deal match. The match turned out to be a Devil's Playground match, a no disqualification, no count out, falls count anywhere affair that quickly turned into a brutal brawl throughout the Capitol Wrestling Center. Priest had things going his way until someone in a Scream Ghostface costume interfered, clobbering Gargano with a lead pipe, then handing a tombstone to Johnny Wrestling, which he smashed on Priest, getting the win and the belt. But who was that masked man? Woman. The Ghostface interference played a pivotal role in Johnny Gargano's win, so naturally, fans are wondering who was under the mask. Dave Meltzer discussed who was originally supposed to run interference for Gargano, saying, "As far as I know, the only talent that was booked for the show who wasn't there was Indy Hartwell, who was going to do a run-in. In fact, it's going to come out in theory the person in the scream mask that helped Candice LeRae was supposed to be Indy Hartwell, and may end up being called Indy Hartwell because she never unmasked, and the idea was for her to unmask as Indy Hartwell, but she wasn't there. It was somebody else under the thing. As mentioned in our earlier news video, there was talk of certain wrestlers missing Halloween Havoc due to their having to quarantine after a COVID case in the Performance Center. While there's no confirmation on who played the Ghostface, there's no reason the WWE can't have Hartwell reveal herself as Gargano's partner in crime later on. Next up, the identity of COVID case at the Performance Center. It looks like we may know who tested positive for the coronavirus, forcing the WWE to quarantine a number of wrestlers and trainees. According to Meltzer, the basic gist is that one of the coaches was diagnosed with COVID, so everyone that had trained in the gym on Friday was told to quarantine for 2 weeks whether they were there or not. Most of the TV people were not there. I was told that none of the TV people tested positive. The WWE doesn't release the name of those who are infected, claiming it can't due to HIPAA laws, but at the same time encouraging wrestlers and staff to not reveal their own COVID diagnosis. It's easy to see how a key person such as a coach could quickly spread the virus. Next up, NXT stars Halloween Havoc tribute to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is a legend in the ring and an inspiration to luchadors and other wrestlers, thus it's no surprise someone paid tribute to the Master of the 619 at Halloween Havoc, an event where many wrestlers dressed up. NXT's Santos Escobar decided to honor Rey Mysterio by painting half of his face with a Day of Dead look, paying homage to Rey's similar look at 1997's Halloween Havoc with the same tights. Rey and Dominic Mysterio tweeted their thanks to Escobar. Next up, Miro says AEW doesn't need Brock Lesnar. The wrestling community continues to wonder where Brock Lesnar will end up next, wrestling or back to MMA. Believed to be a free agent, the Beast has a number of options ranging from wrestling organizations like the WWE and AEW to MMA leagues such as UFC. However, would Lesnar be able to help out All Elite Wrestling? Recently, AEW star Miro talked to Inside the Ropes about WWE's rival signing Lesnar. He mentioned, Brock is great. Brock, whatever he does, he's an entity, right? He's the show himself. He can be on his own show himself. Would we benefit from it? I absolutely think we would. Do we need him? Absolutely not. AEW has signed several former WWE superstars including Miro, but the promotion needs to be careful about who they sign as the roster is already brimming with talent, so much that some fans think there are too many wrestlers and not enough television time. Miro's comments may seem ambiguous, but we think Rusev recognizes that Lesnar has definite value to any place he works, but AEW is doing fine without him. There's also the problem of Lesnar's cost, as the WWE would not let him go without making a substantially large offer to stay. Next up, Pete Dunne turns heel. Halloween Havoc featured some shocking moments, including Pete Dunne's heel turn. During the show, former NFL player Pat McAfee was in the ring with his new team of Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, insulting the Undisputed Era. Undisputed member Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne headed to the ring to confront them, or so it seemed. Dunne brought 2 chairs with him, but rather than helping O'Reilly, he attacked him, turning heel and joining sides with Oney and Burch. Pat proclaimed his faction as the new kings of NXT, adding insult to injury by saying, "And that is undisputed." Dunne has obviously been hitting the gym, looking leaner upon his return. Next up, Thunder Rosa is staying in NWA for now. There have been a number of rumors of former NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa leaving the NWA now that she's dropped the title, with talk of her signing with AEW or WWE. However, NWA President Billy Corgan claims that's not true. He posted this following message on Instagram. No, she's not leaving NWA. You have to love press and media reports that don't contact the company she is under contract to, but instead listen to someone who has my email address but doesn't write and ask. She's under contract through 2021, and there's a reason for that. It's called excellence and faith. Billy was referring to speculation by Dave Meltzer that Rosa was being wooed by AEW, where she has competed, and the WWE. Rosa tweeted a video of herself asking, "Hey Dirt Sheets, what's next for me?" followed by her pulling down her tights around her left hip, revealing AEW, WWE, and NWA written on it. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.